It's currently 8:48 in Tobago, and we have our final host with us this morning. Joining us is Miss Renessa Ortiz, and she is an advocate, entrepreneur, business student, and pageant competitor. So, Miss Renessa Ortiz is a 24-year-old with a background in pageantry, was crowned Miss Tobago 2024, and earned a top 5 placement in Miss World Trinidad and Tobago 2024. She currently holds the title of Miss Tourism World Trinidad and Tobago 2024. As an entrepreneur and business administration student, her studies focus on strategic management and leadership, equipping her with the tools to excel in business and advocacy. Passionate about empowering young women, her work highlights the impact of absent fathers on self-esteem and personal development, driving meaningful change within communities. Renessa, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a
Thank you.
privilege to have you here as well. So tell us a bit about the Miss Tourism. That's something that a lot of persons are unaware of. Tell us a bit about that one particularly.
The Miss Tourism pageant is focused on highlighting the tourism offerings of each country. I was scheduled to go in January to China for the competition. However, due to circumstances out of my control as well as my franchise holders, I was not able to attend. But generally, it's a competition that is held every year in China for us to share, and for the purpose of globalization, just sharing what your country's tourism offerings are.
Okay. So what led you to pageantry?
I'm always asked this question, and truth be told, pageantry isn't something I wanted to pursue. It literally just fell into my lap. I went to a course for the purpose of developing my business, and Mr. Nathan, he was a gentleman that was carrying out the creative youth workshop in Tobago, focusing on the creative arts, fashion industry. Recently, Miss Anaya Baird, she was my first runner-up. She excelled so much that she's now in Milan modeling, and you are seeing it on Newsday and stuff. So I'm really proud of her. That was one of the products out of that. So I went to that workshop for the sole purpose of developing my business, and he asked me to try it for the pageant, and that's where everything took off. So pageantry, I've never looked at it as something that I wanted for myself, but now being in this space and being able to have these opportunities, it has really shown me the importance of being in pageantry and the exposure and the networking that it makes you available to.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your business.
My business is Run Create. I focus on creating women's wear for mostly plus-size women, because I have realized that there is a gap in that market per se. There are lots of women, especially here in Tobago, we are more full-figured. We are not like the standard European style, which means that maybe your waist might be 24, but your hips are 38. So sometimes there's that big gaping that you see, and you have to go and put a dart in the back. And I fell in love with sewing through my grandmother. And from there, during my high school career, I did clothing and textile as a subject. I put it down for a while, and during COVID is when I picked it back up again. And for today, Brand Creates is going on 4 years. I started when I was 21. I'm now 24. And it has been a great experience. I recently started back Run Create because I was on hiatus because of pageantry, so like I took a whole year off, and now I am back and things are going smoothly.
Okay.
Excellent. And for you, how important is it for you to use your platform, use your voice, use your business to inspire other young women here in Tobago? And where do you see some of the major gaps as it relates to developing young women?
I think there's a wide scope of where we need to step in. And I think, as I mentioned, with my advocacy in terms of absent fathers, that's also one of the major gaps that we have. And I think it has become so normalized that a lot of young people, not just young women, are growing up without the presence of a father figure. And that is very crucial. That is very important in your development, because what you see then now is that we have a breakdown in the family structure. And when there's a breakdown in the family structure, our young women or future is now in jeopardy, because you have one person with the sole responsibility of doing everything. And sometimes that isn't the best space to be, because there are things that are going to be missed. And using my platform and my voice, that's why I spoke about the absent fathers, because it's something that I have experienced. But I was fortunate enough to have male role models around me, my grandfather, being in youth clubs where there are male mentors, and all of that has been so crucial and important. Excuse me. All of that has been so crucial and important to my development, and I have seen where that would also be able to benefit a lot of young women.
Okay, so tell me something. How do you balance everything that you're doing, and what do you do to balance? How do you balance it?
I would say all of that goes back to your community and the way you
Okay.
were raised. I would say that I was brought up with understanding the importance of discipline, prioritizing, also knowing what you want for yourself. And sometimes knowing what you want for yourself as a young person doesn't always come easy. You have to go through trials. I know that might sound strange to some of the older folks because I'm just 24, but we are young people. We go through things. We have peer pressure. We have things where sometimes you learn from others' mistakes. And in terms of learning how to balance, it was trial and error.
Right.
You always have to be constantly shifting the way that you do things because one strategy wouldn't always work for everything. And as you grow and you evolve, you would have to change some things to fit where you are currently at.
Totally understood. And I'm glad that you brought that up, the whole idea of discipline. I mean, because in order to be good at anything, that discipline and that consistency is needed. And for you, it seems like your life has transformed in a short space of time by just meeting one person. So, how important is networking for you in the grand scheme of things? And how would you encourage other young women, particularly, to value, the benefits that come from networking?
I know a lot of times we hear the word networking, and it's easy to say, go out and talk to people, but I think the most important thing that you need to understand before you network is understand where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, you'll be networking with any and everyone, and sometimes they are not going to be assisting with where you want to go in life. They wouldn't help to align you to where you want to go. So I think the first and most important thing when you have to think about networking is understand your purpose and the direction for your life. Then when you understand that, you are then able to put yourself in the spaces necessary for you to get there.
Okay, lovely. So I know I had asked this question to Ocean earlier, but I want to ask it to you as well, because as we continue to celebrate International Women's Month, what does being a woman mean to you? And knowing that we have had a lot of research into mental health, how do you safeguard your mental health?
How do I safeguard my mental health? I think it, first and foremost, as I mentioned before, you need to know where you want to go in life. And knowing where you want to be at in life, it allows you to prune yourself, know what you need to remove from your life, what you need to keep, serious meditation, whether it be journaling, having accountability partners, focusing on your spirituality, whatever that might be. Mine is God. Finding what really makes you happy, and happiness to everyone is different. Finding what you are content with, focusing on the things that are true to you. So my idea of fun might be going to the beach, having a picnic, reading a book, and I am content and I am happy with that. Someone else, it might be going to an event, enjoying an all-inclusive. So it all depends on the person, and that's how I safeguard my mental health. Staying true to me, staying true to the things that are for my growth and for my development. And I think that helps you when you are thinking about your mental health and safeguarding it. What does it mean to be a woman? Being a woman means so many different things to so many different people. And I think that a lot of times we are pushed to a wall and we are focused on being strong. Sometimes we don't want to be strong. We just want to be able to exist in a space where I could be vulnerable and vulnerable enough to know that the persons that are around me are going to hold me up, are going to keep me at the standard that I need to be and pat me on the back when I'm sad. I don't have to hide everything and say, well, I'm okay, when in fact I know that I'm not okay. There are layers to us. There are so many different things about us. There are people who would see me and say, she's always so well put together and she's always so poised and graceful. But I'm also very animated, and sometimes you would not see that unless in my close-knit circle, and you would see the strange noises I may make to mimic something. And there's just so many layers to being a woman. There's motherhood, there's leadership, there is persons who choose to adopt. So there are so many layers of what it means to be a woman, and I think it's important that you find what that means to you. And to me, that means just expressing yourself in the most authentic way possible.
Excellent. I'm glad that you said that. Extremely inspiring. And Brittany, I am really impressed by the women that we have spoken to this morning. It just shows that, out of Tobago, we have a number of
do have a lot of really
impressive
amazing,
women
impressive
who are
women.
doing some great things. And so we want to ask you if there's anything that you want to say to the women watching this morning before we close off the discussion this morning. Is there any inspiring word you want to leave, or anyone you want to just say thank you to as we close off this morning?
I want to say thank you to all the women who have contributed significantly and positively to my life. All the kind words, all the great advice that they have bestowed upon me. It has been amazing receiving all of them. They have all been a part of my journey and where I'm at and where I'm going. And to all the young women out there, I just want you to continue believing in yourself, be authentic as much as possible. There's a quote that someone said to me a long time ago that still remains true: to thine own self be true. And once you are true to yourself, a lot of things that come to you would be for your alignment and not necessarily out of what others expect of you.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Brittany, have you enjoyed this morning as much as I have?
I think it has been very inspiring just being in rooms with so many exemplary women and just to hear their stories. I think it's something that we hope that we continue, and I really like to commend Tobago Updates for having this initiative just to speak with women and to hear their stories and to be able to hear their livelihoods. So unfortunately, we have to come to an end.
Unfortunately.
But it has been an amazing morning. And Renessa, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us here as we wrap up this segment of Good Morning Tobago.
And thank you so much for having me.
I want to thank you, our viewers, for sticking with us this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Shenell Felix. This morning I was joined by Miss Britney Romeo, and we had a number of impressive young Tobago women on the show this morning. And so we want to thank you and say have a great day.
Strong.